Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a sweet girl named Little Red Riding Hood. She was called this because of the beautiful red cloak with a hood that her grandmother had made for her, which she always wore. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mother handed her a basket filled with goodies. Her mother said to her,
"Here, my dear, take this basket to your grandma's cottage, who lives in the forest. She is feeling ill, and these treats will surely cheer her up. But remember to stay on the path and don't talk to strangers on the way."
I will, Mother.
The path to her grandmother's house was winding and beautiful, with flowers blooming and birds singing in the trees. Little Red Riding Hood walked happily along, picking flowers for her grandmother as she went. However, as she walked deeper into the forest, she did not notice the eyes watching her from the shadows. A sly wolf had been observing her, and he was very hungry. He approached Little Red Riding Hood with a cunning smile and said to Girl,
"Good day, little sweet girl. Where are you going on this fine day?"
I'm going to visit my grandmother who is ill. She lives in a cottage at the end of this path.
What a kind and thoughtful girl you are. I am sure your grandmother will be very happy to see you. But why not take the longer path through the woods? It's much prettier, and you can pick more flowers.
Little Red Riding Hood, being an innocent and trusting child, thought this was a splendid idea. She thanked the wolf and went off on the longer path, while the wolf took the shorter route, reaching her grandmother's house first. The wolf knocked on the door, called out Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother.
"Who is it?"
The wolf replied, disguising his voice.
"It's me, Little Red Riding Hood."
"Come in, dear,"
said the grandmother. The wolf entered, and before she could react, he pounced on her and swallowed her whole. Then he put on her nightgown and cap and got into her bed, pulling the covers up to his chin. Soon after, Little Red Riding Hood arrived at her grandmother's house. She knocked on the door.
"Who is it?"
It's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I have brought you some goodies, grandmother.
"Come in, dear."
Little Red Riding Hood entered the cottage and approached the bed.
Oh, grandmother, what big ears you have.
The better to hear you with, my dear.
And grandmother, what big eyes you have.
The better to see you with, my dear.
But grandmother, what big teeth you have.
The better to eat you with.
Little Red Riding Hood screamed, but just then, a woodcutter who was passing by heard her cries and rushed into the cottage. He swung his axe at the wolf, killing him and saving Little Red Riding Hood. Then he cut open the wolf's belly, and out came her grandmother, unharmed but very frightened.
Oh, thank you. I will never speak to strangers again.
The woodcutter smiled. Remember to always stay on the path and be cautious, Little Red Riding Hood. The forest is a beautiful place, but it can also be dangerous. From that day on, Little Red Riding Hood always heeded her mother's advice and never strayed from the path again. And they all lived happily ever after. Always listen to your elders and be cautious, stay safe, and be wise.